Hello, world. So, if you've been in school as long as me, you've probably encountered as many annoying teachers as I have. So, let's talk about them. So, here's one of my personal favorite topics to talk about because people always ask me about teachers and stuff whenever they uh, ask if I'm still in high school. So, here is as many teachers as I can think of, and apparently I can't talk today either. So, first one, let's start off in all the way back in elementary school. So I'm gonna try to go in order, cause just because I don't know. But anyways, so this one I don't remember his name because it was all the way in middle school or elementary school, but he was my fifth grade teacher. So this back when I had long hair, he thought it was a great idea to go up behind me and yank my ponytail. And of course, I started crying because he was like a grown man coming up behind me, yanking my ponytail. Thought it was a great idea. And he actually liked the idea of being called mean. He said everyone calls him mean. He likes being called mean. And that was just what he was called. Which, I don't know why you want to be called mean if you're a fifth grade teacher. I don't know. That was just his thing, I guess. But, yeah. So one main thing I remember about him is how he went behind me and yanked my ponytail for no reason because I was sitting there thinking of the answer for a test or a quiz, something like that. And so he thought I was like daydreaming or something and went up behind me and pulled my ponytail, which I don't know why he would do that in the first place because even if I was daydreaming, why would you go behind a kid and just pull their ponytail? So then, of course, I started crying because he pulled it pretty hard. And so he was like, oh no, it's fine, it's fine. So he goes up to some other kid and he has like short hair because he's like a guy. And he pulls a piece of his hair too. And the kid was like, what the hell? Like a fifth grader was like, he was so confused. He's like, see, it's fine. There's no need to cry. I'm like, okay. So of course, like I didn't think anything about it because I thought it was fine. Till years later, when I remembered it randomly and told my mom, and she was like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I'm like, "I don't know." She's like, "Oh well, next time that happens, you should tell me." I'm like, "Okay." So yeah, that was the last thing I remembered of being in elementary school. Next teacher is my art teacher in middle school. So this teacher, everybody basically hated her. Like there was no way to put it nicely. They were well, there were maybe a few kids who liked her, but she said she was strict. It wasn't just being strict. I think she was slightly racist, but that's just my opinion. Because, for example, I was sitting there doing my work, and then one day she randomly calls me up, pulls a desk next to her chair, like desk thing, and tells me to sit there and work there for the rest of the year. Now, if you guys have met me in real life, I don't talk at all. I don't do anything to get in trouble because I'm a quiet person. Because I just don't like talk to people. Like I'm not gonna go out of my way to talk to people I don't know. So I don't sit there and make all this noise and drama with other people. So I'll sit there, mind my own business, and she'll pull up a chair and tell me to go work next to her for the rest of the year. So of course I got mad at her because I don't know what I did wrong and she wouldn't tell me. So I just went and skipped the class. So I would go to school and then just whenever it was time to go to her class, just wait in the library. So eventually the librarian caught on and she was like, "Oh, honey, where's your teacher? Whose class are you in?" And I was like, no one." So I just got up and left. And then um, after that, I just wandered the hallway for a few days until this one kid named Hunter came up. He was like, "Oh my God, Shanice, what are you doing? Aren't you supposed to be in Miss Meyer's class?" And I was like, maybe. So this guy, he's a snitch. He went and took his phone and took a picture of me and showed the teacher. Next day, I'm walking around the hallway and I hear my teacher from first period going, "Oh, Miss Meyer's been looking for you." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I'm like, minding my own business, and then so in the hallway, Miss Meyer sees me and starts yelling at me, gives me this whole freaking lecture, which by the way I didn't need because they called my parents anyways, and my mom already yelled at me, gave me the exact same speech, and she was just like, "Oh, well, you better be in my class today because if you're not, I'm gonna expel you or get you in trouble or something like that." So I went to her class, and of course she was just singling me out and calling me out every 5 seconds. Like whenever she would say something, she would indirectly mention me. Like I already didn't know. Like okay, I get it, but yeah, she was just being extra annoying. And it wasn't just that. She would do things like, okay, for example, if you guys have ever taken an art class, you know how long it takes to finish one piece of art. She would give you a whole project and tell you that you have until Friday to finish it, which is cool. But in the middle of the week, she would give you a whole new project and say that has to be done by the end of the week. How are you supposed to finish two projects by the end of 2 weeks? And they weren't just simple projects either. They were those long projects too that take time to do if you wanted to, like, if you're into drawing like me. Because if I draw something, I want it to actually look good because I like drawing. So, I don't know, it's just that whole thing that I do where I like to draw and I like my drawings to look good. So I'm not just going to draw a picture and have it look bad and just turn it in for a grade because I like drawing and want my drawings to genuinely look nice. So, if you're someone like me, you're going to want your drawings to look nice and not turn in crap by the end of Friday if you have two projects to work on. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I noticed that she has a pattern where she would single out black kids purposefully to the point where she had a whole row of black kids just singled out in front of her desk. And I had a friend who was trying to draw a picture. He tried to take a piece of circle shaped thing to trace it to do his picture. And she was like, she snatched it out of his hand and told him rudely, "No, you're not gonna use my supplies to work on your crap." Like, she told him just like that. I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, I could talk about the teacher for hours, but next teacher, um by the way, I don't personally try to say their names. It's just like it just happens. But anyways, next teacher. So this teacher, she wants to say everything is all about her. That was her thing. She said the only reason why she became a teacher is because she wanted everything to be all about her. So that way she could talk and she's the only person that can talk and no one can say anything about it because it's all about her. So she kind of made that a theme in her classroom whenever someone talks over her or something. She's like, "Hey, you know why you can't talk over me?" And she made the whole class take because it's all about you. You know, that was the reason why she became a teacher. Um, Next teacher. This one's in high school. This was my freshman year. I still had no idea where anything was. So for first period, I had an aerobics class, and I have like foot problems and stuff. So I had to go to the nurse. But I got lost on my way there, so I was late to my second period class. So on my way to second period, I was just like lost. Like, well, actually, I was on my way to the nurse and I got lost. So I was like, well, since I'm already late, I might as well just stop trying to find the nurse and go to my second period teacher. So by the time I finally figured out where my class was, I was 30 minutes late because they have everything as two separate like buildings. Because there's the freshman academy and then there's the main building and then there's the gym. So yeah, I got lost because it was a completely different building. Because the gym has its own little building that I came to go find the nurse's office at in a different building. So then my other class was in the freshman academy upstairs in a different building. So of course I got lost my first year there. So by the time I finally found my teacher, she said I was 30 minutes late, which I was like, oh, you know, it's cool. Because I kind of waited in the bathroom anyways because I didn't know what time the class ended. So I was like, oh, maybe if I'm that late, maybe I could just wait until the class ends. But no, it didn't end anytime soon. So I just went to class. She's like, "Oh, Shanice, where were you? You're 30 minutes late." I'm like, "Oh, well, I was on my way to the nurse and I never went there, so I came back here." And she wants to keep saying that I'm lying to her. She's like, "Oh, well, if you went to the nurse, then you would have a nurse pass." I'm like, "I never went to the nurse. I was on my way to the nurse and I came back because I couldn't find it." She was like, "Oh, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna email the nurse and see if you were actually there." I'm like, "I was never there. I was on my way there and I came back." And she wants to keep pushing and saying that I'm lying or whatever. So guess what? She emailed the nurse, and guess what the nurse told her? That I wasn't there. So she's like, "Oh, the nurse said you weren't there, so where were you?" I'm like, "I just told you. I was on my way to the nurse and I couldn't find it, so I came back to class." So eventually she just quit, you know, asked me all these questions, and then she emailed my mom and told my mom that I was an hour late, and she emailed the vice principal and said I was an hour late. So then I got called up to the vice principal the next day, and he said I was an hour late, which I wasn't, because she literally just said I was 30 minutes late. So since I already told him, because, you know, I don't like talking to people, so I was like kind of quiet. I was like, well, you know, I got lost, and I never really told him that I was 30 minutes late and not an hour late. But he like understood the whole thing and he only gave me 3 days of lunch detention because I was 30 minutes late. because apparently if you're over 10 minutes late, they count that the school counts that as skipping. So he still had to find some way to punish me, and that was it, I guess. So yeah. Next teacher, my Japanese teacher. You guys know how much I love anime, so I decided to take Japanese because I get tired of just reading the subtitles and I want to actually know what they're saying. So I took Japanese. This teacher, he wasn't really the best teacher. He didn't really know a way how to teach correctly. Like, that's kind of just the best way I can say it. He wasn't really the best teacher. No one really understood what he meant. For example, he would get like really frustrated. I don't know, like whenever you would pronounce something wrong, he would get really mad at you. But it's like he expects us to know how to pronounce things correctly, but this is a Japanese class. Like, you're supposed to teach us. Like, not just expect us to know how to pronounce this thing correctly. Like, you know what I mean? So anyways, I have a friend who has like a speech impediment. So she stutters a lot when she gets angry. And if you like, you would just have to meet the teacher. He finds some way to make you angry. Like, eventually I just stopped trying to work in the class because there was no way I could get my grade back up to a passing grade with this guy as my teacher. So I just started joking around because I actually made friends in the class for once. And so my friend has a speech impediment, and so she stutters a lot when she talks. So whenever he makes her mad, she starts stuttering even more. So she has to go to like classes to stop stuttering or whatever. And he's trying to tell her to stop stuttering, but she can't control it. So they had this whole argument back and forth about her stuttering, and she's telling him that she can't control it, and he's trying to tell her to calm down and stop stuttering and take time and actually talk. But it's like a whole back and forth conversation. But by the end of the day, I wound up failing his class with like a 36, I think, just because I had no idea what to do in his class. Because I couldn't read anything. He wasn't a good teacher. I couldn't pronounce anything correctly. So I wound up failing it. My next teacher, she was a teacher I had last year. She wasn't, okay, so I don't know if she did this purposefully, but she would do this thing where if you try to ask her a question, she's a physics teacher. So she would do this thing purposefully. If you ask her a question, she would get mad at you. Like, for example, this guy in my class asked her a question. He was like, so if you do this instead of this, will you get this? Or like, some question like that. She's like, well, if you do this, you get this and not this. Like, she had a whole attitude in her voice. I don't really know how to explain it. And so, pretty much the whole class caught on to her whole attitude type thing. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of in that section of her teaching. Because she'll also do this thing where, I don't know how to explain it. Okay, so anyways, basically, I used to ride a knee scooter. I already told you guys this in one of my videos because I had foot surgery. So I had a knee scooter and I had to leave classes early to get to my other class on time because the whole hallway acts like a whole freaking stampede whenever you have to get to class. I don't know if I'm speaking clearly. So the whole hallway is like a big stampede whenever you have to get to your next class because they want to trample over everyone like there's no tomorrow. But basically I have to leave early because I had a knee scooter. And so she would come and be like, oh, well, since you're late to my class, that means that you have to stay to my class and leave. Hold on, I don't know how to explain it. So she had this whole thing where I had a knee scooter, and she would get mad at me because I would be late to her class even though I was supposed to leave 5 minutes early, but that was because I was having a conversation with my teacher from last period. So I'll just sit there and talk to her and wait until the class, the whole stampede ended anyways because I liked that teacher instead of her. So she was like, oh, well, since you're late to my class, you might as well just leave 5 minutes early, or 5 minutes late like the rest of the students. And I'm like, no, I have a pass that says I can leave 5 minutes early, so I don't know what you're talking about. She was like, oh, well, you can't pick and choose which class you're late to, so you're going to wait 5 minutes late like the rest of the students. I'm like, okay. So some other student came in to talk to her because I guess they were her favorite teacher or whatever. So while they were talking, I just left 5 minutes early anyways, like I'm supposed to. And she didn't say anything the next day. So, once I finally got off the knee scooter, she tried to bring up that whole thing again with me trying to leave 5 minutes early. Because I still have to leave 5 minutes early because I have a pass. And I just got off my knee scooter. So I can't just walk through a whole stampede of people who are taller than me. Because they act like freaking animals in the hallway. So she was trying to say, oh, since you're not on the knee scooter, that means you can leave with the rest of the students, right? I'm like, no. I still have a pass that says I can leave 5 minutes early. It's not like I can just leave with the rest of the students because I'm not gonna get trampled over just because you want me to leave with the rest of the students. That's not how this works. I mean, I didn't actually say that because, I don't speak my mind in front of people, but that's what I was thinking in my mind. But, yeah, those are the annoying teachers that I can think of for now. I'm pretty sure I'll find more along the way, but yeah, those are just the ones I can think of for now. So if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you guys can relate or find some other annoying teacher that you guys want to talk about in the comments below, then you can do that, I guess. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing this bandana or headband, whatever it's called, it's because it's like my new favorite thing. Like, I don't know why I've been doing it, but this is my new favorite thing. It's like, I usually wear one with the pirate skulls on it. They're not really pirate skulls, but they just look like it. But, since it doesn't match the shirt, I just wear a galaxy one. So, yeah. Also, let me know if you like this background instead of my other background, because it has all my favorite things. Also, I uploaded a video in my gaming channel, even though I don't upload very often, but I did anyways. So if you guys want to check that out, it's called Fiery Games, and I'll try to remember to leave the link down below. And, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, I remember now. So, I was going to say that I'm going on vacation tomorrow for about 4 days, or 4 or 5 days, something like that. So, I'll try to make a vlog type thing if I can remember to take videos. But it's supposed to be raining, so maybe I'll make it more like a game night thing. I don't know, it all depends on what's going to happen. Also, I know I talk pretty fast sometimes. So, let me know if you guys want me to slow down, because, I'm Puerto Rican, and Puerto Ricans speak fast, and I'm also from New York, and New Yorkers speak fast. So, yeah, just let me know if you want me to speak slower. I don't do it intentionally. It just happens. So, yeah. Goodbye, world.